Barakallahu fikum wa jazakumullahu khayra. Let us continue in Al-Mu'taqad As-Saghir. This creedal document, one of the earliest Ash'ari documents by someone, a scholar who is a direct student of Imam Al-Ash'ari, Imam Ibn Khafeef, rahimahullah, wa qaddasa sirrah. And we're going to continue from where we left off. And so the author said, may Allah have mercy upon him. Amma ba'd, thereafter, فَإِنَّ الْعَاقِلَ مَنْ صَحَّحَ اعْتِقَادَهُ. Indeed, the intelligent one is he who verifies the correctness, the soundness of his creed. عِدَّةً لِلِقَاءِ رَبِّهِ. In preparation for what would literally translate as for meeting his Lord. And it means meeting, encountering the judgment of his Lord. وَأَخْلَصَ نِيَّتَهُ تَزْكِيَةً لِأَعْمَالِهِ. And indeed, the intelligent one is he who purifies his intention. He makes his intention sincere for purifying his deeds. Because you know that the good deed is only rewardable when done sincerely. That's called ikhlas. Ikhlas, which means sincerity. The ikhlas. وَأَخْلَصَ نِيَّتَهُ. He had ikhlas in his intention, sincerity, تَزْكِيَةً لِأَعْمَالِهِ, for purifying his deeds. Yes, for the acceptance of the deeds, for the acceptance of his deeds. Acceptance means rewardability. Acceptance here does not mean validity. The qabul acceptance is the rewardability, not the validity. Because you could have a valid deed that's not acceptable. That means a valid deed without reward. Valid means you will not be charged for not doing it. Yani, it will be counted that you have done it. If it's valid, it will be counted that you did it in the afterlife. It won't be counted that you neglected it. You did do it. So it's done. But there's no reward for you in that deed if it is not acceptable. So the intelligent one is the one who purifies his intentions. He makes his intentions sincere for the purity of his deeds, for the rewardability of his deeds. وَأَحْسَنَ عِبَادَةَ رَبِّهِ ذُخْرًا لِمَعَادِهِ. And indeed, the intelligent one is the one who perfects the worship of his Lord. ذُخْرًا لِمَعَادِهِ, as something, yani, so that it would be something stored away for his return to life. He perfects his worships. How does he perfect his worships? One perfects his worships by doing all of the essentials, the integrals. Does all the integrals, the arkan, the essentials of his deed. And he fulfills all of the conditions That means the prerequisites, the shurut. He fulfills all these shurut, the conditions, the prerequisites of his deeds, the things he has to do before the deed, for the deed to be valid. He fulfills them. And also, to perfect your deed, you must avoid the invalidators. Avoid the invalidators, the mubtilat. And also, to perfect your deed, and very important, if you want perfect deed, do the sunnah. Do the sunnah, meaning the optional parts that are not obligatory. Without the sunnah, your deed will not be perfect. Could be valid, but not perfect. And sometimes if you don't do the sunnah, you won't have reward. Some examples of that, according to what we learned, include not making wudu 3 times for each organ, excluding the head. You could do the head 1 time and still be rewardable for you. But the other parts, 3 times. So what we learned is that without doing it 3 times, there's no reward. There's hadiths to substantiate that. Also, another example is like skipping the first tashahhud. The first tashahhud is sunnah in your prayer. We learned that skipping it makes you have no reward. So I remind myself and I remind you not to be lazy in the worships, in the wudu, in the ghusl, in the prayer, and in other good deeds. That wudu and that prayer, perhaps we need to be not so lazy. I know I can just speak for myself. But if your case like my case, then not so lazy. Do all the sunnahs of the wudu, all the sunnahs of the prayer. So وَأَحْسَنَ عِبَادَةَ رَبِّهِ, he perfected the worship of his Lord. And he had ihsan. Ihsan. Ihsan, what is the ihsan? It is the perfection. It is the expertise. You worshipped your Lord as an expert. May Allah make us experts in worship. Yani al-ihsan is al-itqan, expertise. Like what came in the hadith of Jibreel, as you know, that Jibreel asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell me about ihsan. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, ihsan is to worship Allah as if you see him. And if you do not see him, then know that he sees you and you don't see him. Yani, that's the end of the hadith. And if you don't see him, then know that he sees you. That's the hadith. And the case that you don't see him in this dunya. But you worship him as if you can see him. What does that lead to? Leads to perfecting your worship. ذُخْرًا لِمَعَادِهِ, so that it would be something stored away for his return. What return? His return to life. Then inshallah he will find the good deeds that he did benefit him. And that Allah Ta'ala kept his promise to reward him for his good deeds. Like Allah says in Surah Al-Ghashiyah, لِسَعْيِهَا رَاضِيَةٌ. One would be in paradise appreciating the good deeds that he did on earth. Happy about the good deeds that he did on earth, because he will find that he benefited from them. وَعَلِمَ أَنَّهُ لَمْ يُخْلَقُ عَبَثًا وَلَمْ يُتْرَكْ سُدًى. And the intelligent one knows that he was not created frivolously. He was not created without wisdom, is the meaning of that. He was not created without wisdom. His creation is not hapless or meaningless or irrelevant or devoid of wisdom. Walam yutrak suda, and the intelligent one knows that he was not left on earth unaccountable. He was not left on earth unaccountable. Subhanallah. How does someone who does not believe in Allah and does not believe in the afterlife see himself as accountable? Accountable to whom? Who shall he answer to? The humans? He has to answer to the humans. He has to answer to his Lord. فَيَجْتَهِدُ فِي تَوْثِيقِ عُرَى دِينِهِ. Then that intelligent one will exert effort. He will be a mujtahid, yani one who exerts effort in verifying that the buttons of his religion are buttoned, are fastened. He will put forth efforts to verify that the buttons of his religion are fastened. So footnote says that means a takmili imanihi bil amal. It means he will, what's the word there? He will, subhanallah. Yani, complement. He will complement his faith with good deeds. He will complement his faith with good deeds. That means not only have faith, but have good deeds too. And his good deeds will complement his faith. Complement here means will make it complete. His faith will be complete by the good deeds that he puts along with that faith. وَتَصْفِيَةِ عَمَلِهِ. And the intelligent one will put forth the effort. He will be a mujtahid in purifying his deeds, making his deeds unadulterated, untainted, not mixed, not contaminated. من الآفات كالرياء والعجب. Yes, what contaminates his deeds? The contaminants. Which contaminants? The contaminants such as insincerity, doing the good deeds to be recognized by the people, to be respected by the people, for the glory of the world. This is a contaminant for your deeds. You want to be recognized. Don't want to be recognized. And also the conceit. The conceit is a contaminant for the deed. What is the conceit? The ujub. That's you're being impressed with yourself. Impressed with yourself for how good you see yourself in your deeds. When you reflect on how you pray and how you do any good deed, how you recite the Quran and how you memorize or how you do other things. Let's say you are good at those. Allah gave you a talent and made you good at those worships, the worships. He gave you energy to do them a lot, to be consistent, and to and for that to be done in a beautiful way. And then you noticed yourself, and you said, "Oh, hold on a second. Oh man, I'm smooth. Oh, nice. And then it got to your head and you became impressed with yourself for your good deed. Now, if you feel that feeling after you've completed your good deed, then you won't lose the reward, but you still have to repent. This feeling is a sin. But if you feel this feeling while you do your good deed, the feeling of conceit, if you are conceited while doing good deeds, then you have no reward for your good deed. So if you are insincere or if you are conceited while doing good deeds, then you have no reward for those deeds. وَتَصْحِيحِ عِبَادَتِهِ, and the intelligent one will be a mujtahid, putting forth the effort to validate his worships, to validate them, to make sure they are valid, not just to do some outward display. The intelligent one is not the one who is merely concerned with having an outward display, like someone that it's fine enough for him that it looks like he did wudu, that he stood in the line, and that he moved with those who pray. But if he were to do something invalid, and then someone were to try to benefit him and tell him what you have done is not valid, he would say, Allah knows my intention. And the validity of his deed is not a true concern of his. And for some people, this extends to their marriage also. And so that they don't really care if the marriage contract is valid or not. They only care that something was performed so that they can say a marriage was done. So that's not the intelligent one. And he is definitely not a mujtahid. And I think it's clear for you, I'm not talking about a legal mujtahid here. I'm talking about a literal mujtahid. A mujtahid in the literal sense, not the religious legal sense. Mujtahid means one who exerts effort. Exerting effort, so picking up a pencil is not ijtihad, or turning a page, for example, that's not ijtihad, because there is not an exertion of effort here. Rather, that is at the extent of ease. If you are going to make sure your deeds are valid, you're going to do that, though, with intelligence. Well, that's what the author is telling us, the aqil. So how would you be concerned that your deed is valid, but with stupidity, though, you have a concern for the validity of your worship while you are stupid? That's when you let the devil get to you, so that you cannot make wudu in less than 3 washes. You cannot recite an ayah of the Quran without repeating yourself. Why you are doing so many washes? Because you want your wudu to be valid. But why did you go beyond 3? Because you're acting stupid. That's really what it is. You're acting stupid. Because you wash your face, and as if you don't know what your face is. So then you washed it again. And then you washed it again, but not because of the sunnah you are doing that, but because you are not being reasonable. And then you washed it again, and then you washed it again, then you washed it again. Somehow you never were able, through all of that, to wash your whole face, until maybe finally, eventually, you finished washing your face. Now it's time to go through the adventure of washing your first arm. Until maybe you're going to finish washing your first arm so that you can get to your second arm. You should have been done your wudu by now. You're still washing your arm. In this case, have willpower. Willpower, I mean, don't let the devil overcome you. If a bully wanted you to do something you didn't want to do, you just going to do it? If you're too scared, you will. Or other than a bully, if a bad influence, if you had a friend who's really not your friend and he's a bad influence and he wants you to do something, wants you to steal for him, for example, he says, "Nah, you're taller than me. You can put the item in your hat, and then walk out of the store and your hat will be over the alarm and then it won't go off. He's supposed to be your friend. You gonna do it? Or you're gonna say, no, bro, I'm not going out like that. You're gonna say, no, I'm not going out like that. So you're gonna stand up on your own 2 feet. You're not going to be repeating yourself over and over and over again. Yani, letting the devil play you for a sucker and looking silly and your family shaking their head at you, saying to themselves, still didn't get over this, still like that. And you can't get married because you're too weird. Male or female. Get a grip, inshallah ta'ala. فَبِهِ يَتِمُّ وَيَصْفُو وَيَزِيدُ وَيَنْمُو. And so by it shall be perfect. One's faith will be perfect. وَيَصْفُو, and it will be clean, clear, unadulterated. وَيَزِيد, and it will increase. وَيَنْمُو, and grow. According to the Ash'aris, who say faith increases and decreases. Not according to the Hanafis, who say faith does not increase or decrease. Wallahu al-muwaffiq. Wallahu al-muwaffiq lisubuli rashad. And Allah is the one who grants the compliance. He is the grantor of the God-given compliance to the pathways of guidance and the pathways of maturity. The maturity, yani, that Muslim maturity. That Muslim maturity that makes you don't play too much and makes you be based, as they say these days, and grounded in reality and thinking well and intelligent. Don't get it twisted, brothers and sisters. Even the non-Muslim who knows, he knows that the Muslims are intelligent. It's the one who fooled himself who thinks the Muslims are not intelligent. But the ones who know, they know the Muslims are very intelligent. وَلِمَا يُحِبُّ وَيَرْضَى. And Allah Ta'ala is the one who grants the God-given compliance to do what he accepts and to do that of which he approves. فَأَوَّلُ مَا يَحْتَاجُ إِلَيْهِ الْعَبْدُ اعْتِقَادُهُ التَّوْحِيدِ. And so, the first thing that the slave needs is his conviction in monotheism. So also we just saw now Sufi words of a religious preacher, Muslim preacher. We've gone through several books of Aqidah together, alhamdulillah, and I don't think any of them have these words like this, these words of religiosity, because that's different from Aqidah itself. Just pure unadulterated Aqidah science doesn't require talking about religiosity and sincerity and good deeds and things like that, and doing these sunnah worships and things like that. But the Aqidah of At-Tahawi does have similar lofty statements. The Aqidah of At-Tahawi does have advice and wisdom besides Aqidah. Inshallah, perhaps soon we will revisit the Aqidah of Tahawi together and we'll see. Now that we are all older together and more mature too, alhamdulillah. فَأَوَّلُ مَا يَحْتَاجُ إِلَيْهِ الْعَبْدُ اعْتِقَادُهُ التَّوْحِيدِ. And so the first of what the slave, the God slave, needs is his conviction in monotheism, tawheed. Tawheed uh, comes from, yani, it is the source of the verb wahada. Wahada means, in the literal sense, to unify. Unify means to make one, to make one. So, wahada yuwahidu tawhida. We deem God one. Our deeming God one is called tawheed. Some people, they do translate tawheed as the unity of Allah. I wouldn't say that word. I don't like it personally. I want to say the unity. Rather, we're going to say the oneness. The oneness of Allah. And if we are talking about the science of the creed, the science of the creed that is called, this science is called at-tawheed, ilm tawheed, the knowledge of tawheed, then I would translate tawheed in that context as monotheism. And this monotheism is a science. Tawheed, we could say Islamic monotheism, but the qualifier Islamic is not really a condition because there's nothing but monotheism, meaning monotheism is what it is, not going to be Islamic or non-Islamic. Rather, if someone has monotheism, then he believes in Allah Ta'ala without likening him to the creations. He confirms God's existence without likening him to the creations in any way. This is monotheism, and monotheism is not the same as Islam. There's a difference between a Muslim and a monotheist. Monotheist is called muwahhid. Someone who practices or has tawheed. Someone who has tawheed is called muwahhid. There is a difference between a Muslim and a muwahhid. Every Muslim is a muwahhid, yes, but not every muwahhid is a Muslim. No. Not every muwahhid is a Muslim. It is possible that a person is a muwahhid and a kafir while being a kafir. But be mindful here. Muwahhid does not mean merely says there's one God. Because if someone says there's one God and he's a body in the sky, then he does not have monotheism. He's mushrik. He's a polytheist or a pagan. Or someone believes that God is a figure. Even if he says there's one God, he is our Father in heaven, for example. This is not monotheism. That's shirk. The opposite of tawheed is shirk. The opposite of tawheed is shirk. You have the tawheed, the monotheism, its opposite is shirk. So that's going to be polytheism, paganism, etc. Polytheism, paganism is shirk. So the first of what the slave needs is his conviction in monotheism. So after saying all of that, what is the base of the monotheism? If you have it, you will have monotheism. Believe that Allah is without a partner. Allah is without a partner, and know what that means. What does partner mean? Partner includes a similar. Allah is without a similar. So to have tawheed, it is necessary to believe that God is bodiless, shapeless, formless, exists without place, exists without direction, or else you will not be a monotheist. لِيَتِمَّ بِهِ سَائِرُ الْأَعْمَالِ. Why is it the first of what the slave needs? So that the rest of the deeds will be valid for him. You said, can a muwahid be someone who does not follow any religion? That's possible as long as he doesn't deny the existence of Allah. If he denies the existence of Allah, then he will be a mu'attil. Mu'attil. If he denies the existence of Allah, he will be a mu'attil, an atheist. So you got some words here. You know, Muslim, you know, mu'min. So the mu'min is the believer. The Muslim is the submitter. The Muslim is the submitter, he who submits to the command of God. You have a mu'min. Mu'min is a believer, and those are the same. The Muslim and the mu'min are the same. And you also have someone who's called muwahid. Muwahid is a monotheist. That doesn't mean he's a mu'min, though. So every Muslim is a mu'min and a muwahid, but not every muwahid is a Muslim and a mu'min. And also you have someone, if someone believes in shirk or has shirk, then he's called mushrik. So mushrik is a pagan or a polytheist. And if he denies the existence of Allah, then he is mu'attil. It's already there. So you're going to add those to your religious vocabulary. You already know Muslim, you know mu'min. So now you know muwahid, that's with ha. And you already know mushrik. And add also, if you didn't have it before, mu'attil, the atheist. And there's other words too. You could take those. The slave needs his conviction in monotheism so that the rest of his deeds will be complete. لِيَتِمَّ بِهِ سَائِرُ الْأَعْمَالِ. So that the rest of the deeds will be tamam, complete. Yani, valid. It won't even be valid before you even think about the reward. It's not even going to be valid without monotheism. Not just monotheism, though. Without Islam. Without Islam. Yani, here when the author talks about one's conviction in monotheism, he is talking about Islam. The first of what the slave needs is a correct conviction so that he would be a Muslim, because you're not going to be a Muslim without the monotheism. Like a Wahhabi, Wahhabi lacks monotheism. So he's not a Muslim, although he dresses like one and claims to be one. And then his deeds will be incomplete, yani not valid, because he's a kafir. فَيَعْتَقِدُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى وَاحِدٌ. And thus, the intelligent one believes, holds as conviction, يَعْتَقِد. It has i'tiqad. I'tiqad, also important words for you. I'tiqad. I'tiqad is conviction. Yani, i'tiqad is aqidah. I'tiqad is aqidah, which means conviction. Conviction means your doctrine, what you believe in. So, here's some, you have this word. These are two words here. I'tiqad and aqidah, they mean the same thing. And what else you have here? We have the word tawheed. Tawheed is the monotheism. And we have also another word, Iman. Iman is faith or belief. What's Iman? The Iman is believing in Allah and His angels and His books and His prophets and the last day and destiny, it's good and it's evil. That's Iman. What's Tawheed? Tawheed is the monotheism. That's the name of our science. The science we are dealing with here. The science of Kalam, the science of Tawheed is the science of Kalam, monotheism. Kalam being theology. The science of monotheism is the science of theology, Islamic theology. And Aqidah means your conviction. That's what you have in your heart. What you believe in your heart about Allah, about the prophets, about the angels, etc. About Judgment Day, that's your Aqidah, your i'tiqad. So you have the word i'tiqad, the word Aqidah, you already have the word Tawheed and the word Iman. The author says right here, فَيَعْتَقِدُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى وَاحِدٌ. And therefore, this intelligent one who is a mujtahid, yani one who puts the effort, he thus has the conviction that Allah, exalted is He, is one, wahid. So now he starts. And the first thing he mentions is the oneness of Allah Ta'ala, like Tahawi did. What did he say? نقول في توحيد الله معتقدين بتوفيق الله إن الله واحد. He said, we say, believing in Tawheed, indeed, Allah is one. Mushrik is pagan. I erased it already. Mushrik is pagan or polytheist, and some other words too. And then what did Imam Ibn Khafeef say? He said, La min haythul adad. Not though from the perspective of count. He is one, not from the perspective of count, or not from the perspective of number. So who said that? You're welcome. Who said that? Who said like that? Also, I think you know, inshallah. Wallahu ta'ala wahidun la min tariqi al-adad. Allah is one, not by way of count, or not by way of number. Who said that? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Abu Hanifa said that. Abu Hanifa said that. Allah is one, not by way of number or not by way of count. La min tariqi al-adad. So he said here a statement very close to Abu Hanifa's statement. Allahu ta'ala wahidun la min haythu al-adad. Not from the perspective of count or number. Wala kal ahad. And he is not like the ones. Al-ahad, jam'u ahad, bima'na wahid. فالله تعالى واحد بمعنى أنه لا شريك له وليس معناه كالواحد من طريق العدد لأن الواحد من طريق العدد يقبل الزيادة والنقصان وذلك على الله محال. Yes. So he is one, not from the perspective of counts, and he is not like the ones. He is not like others. He is not like others. So then he does not have a type. This talk here, when we say he is one, not by meaning of count or number, then it means he has no type or kind. He is one without a kind and without a type. وأنه لا كالأشياء وأنه شيء لا كالأشياء وأنه شيء لا كالأشياء, and that he is something unlike other things or unlike anything. He is something unlike other things. He is something means he exists. He has existence. He is something unlike other things means he has existence. La kal ashya, not like other things, and other things, they have existence too. He is something not like others, is the meaning of the sentence here. One must then believe that Allah is one, not from the perspective of count, and he is not like the ones, and that he is something not like other things. He is something not like others. He is something unlike others. Yes. What does this mean? Something, saying he is shay, something means he exists. He has confirmed existence. And saying la kal ashya, not like other things, this means those others, they exist too. Because if they didn't exist, we wouldn't call them something. And so that's why, following the way the Muslim scholars talk, I attempt not to say a non-existent thing. I attempt not to say something non-existent, because the Muslim scholars reserve the word shay, that I'm translating as thing or something, as what exists. And the non-existent, they said, wal ma'dumu laysa bi shay'. The non-existent is not anything at all. It's not something. The non-existent is not something. So therefore, I try not to say this non-existent thing, that non-existent thing. Supposing something was non-existent, for example, those words, they come off of my tongue. But if I catch myself, I won't say it, because I'm trying to reserve the word thing for what exists only. So we wouldn't say a non-existent thing. So when he says here, وَأَنَّهُ شَيْءٌ لَا كَالْأَشْيَاءِ, and that he, Allah, is shay, something, that means existent, something existing. لَا كَالْأَشْيَاءِ, not like other things. That means those others are existing too. So Allah Ta'ala exists and the others exist. The other created things, they exist too. So if he exists and they exist, how is he not like them? Doesn't existence have a meaning? And this is what a philosopher will say to you. Now what I'm going to tell you is how some intellectual will argue with you. Or he might be a moron who's not an intellectual, but he just happened to pay attention to something. So he would argue with you this, and I'm going to tell you the answer too, inshallah. He would say to you, do you say that Allah exists? Do you say God exists? Yani he will say to you, you say God is not like anything? You're going to say, that's right. Indubitably, I do declare that God is not like anything. And he will say, huh? And you said in the same breath, too, that he exists, right? And you're already knowing where he's trying to set you up. But you don't have to run from his setup. So you can just say, yeah, I said that. You already know he's trying to set you up here. He's not going to set you up, though. So don't run. Just answer him straightforward. Yeah, I said that. Don't get it twisted. You heard me, right? He exists. So he says, and don't you say we exist too? You say, yeah, that's right. And you know where he's getting at. So then he says, so how is not similar? Existence is something that has a meaning, and you're using it for God to mean something, and you're using it for the creations to mean the same thing. So therefore, he's similar. So how do you answer this? You say, it's not the same. His existence is unlike our existence. His existence is unlike our existence. So he's going to say, no, no, no. No, you can't fool me. And you're going to be trying to say to him, no, I'm not trying to fool you. Listen, understand. But sometimes you might not know how to go further here. And he's trying to get at something that's just one step more than what you are saying. So there is something you need to say here. And if you don't know how to say it, it's not that you're going to be wrong, but he's going to think that you are unable to answer his question and that you are wrong. And he's going to think, actually, there is no answer for his question. Not that you just can't do it. There is no answer. And you are wrong for trying to answer what doesn't have an answer, for trying to give an answer to what doesn't have an answer. So what you're going to say to him? You're going to say to him, listen, you need to understand what it means for two things to be similar. If you understand what it means for two things to be similar, then you're not going to think that they are similar simply because you're using the same word for both of them. You need to know what similar means. Then, if you know what similar means, then you might use the same word for both, although you don't confirm that they are similar. So maybe he'll say here, how's that? So you say to him, the similar, if one is similar to another, then what? Who can tell me? How do we explain the similar? What is the similar? The mithal. What is the mithal? The similar. Tell me, please. 5, 4, 3. You said interchange. Okay. So the similar is the one who can replace his similar. They are interchangeable. They are exchangeable, replaceable. That's what a similar is. So, is God's existence suitable for creatures? No. You cannot apply God's existence to a creature. It doesn't work. And can the creature's existence be applied to God? Is the creature's existence suitable for God? No, it's not. So then, although we're using the same word, it does not mean the same thing because they are not interchangeable. Once we found that they cannot take the place of each other, then we knew that they were not similar, although we're using the same word. Think about that. We took that in other lessons also. Wallahu a'lam. So he's just getting started now. Now he just started with his aqidah. وَأَنَّهُ شَيْءٌ لَا كَالْأَشْيَاءِ, and that he is something unlike other things. One other thing. So, what did he mention here? فَيَعْتَقِدُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى وَاحِدٌ, and thus, one, the intelligent one, he has the conviction that Allah Ta'ala is wahid, one, not by way of count, and he is not like the ones, and that he is something not like other things. Here, the author shows the similarity, yani the, not similarity, the synonymous meaning, synonymous. He shows how Allah's attribute of oneness and his attribute of dissimilarity are synonymous. One means no partner. Allah being one means he has no partner. And dissimilarity means he has no likeness. Now, those are very, very, very close. Partner does not mean exactly likeness. What's understood from the word partner is not what's understood from the word likeness, but they have something in common. They have a common meaning. Because if you do have a partner, if you become having a partner, then you will have a likeness. Your partner will be like you to some degree or another. So here he brought together the attributes of oneness and dissimilarity in one sentence and showed that they are synonymous. Yani very close, very close in meaning. Practically the same meaning of his being one practically means he is not like anything. His being unlike anything practically means he is one. So I'll just really quick read the metin. I actually meant to read the metin and then explain. I want to start doing it that way. Maybe it's going to be easier for you. But let me just do one quick read through of the metin without all the interjections from where we started. And so the author said, أما بعد, thereafter, فإن العاقل من صحح اعتقاده عدة للقاء ربه. Indeed, the intelligent one is who validates, verifies his conviction in preparation for meeting the judgment of his Lord. وأخلص نيته تزكية لأعماله. And he purifies his intention. He makes his intention sincere for the purity of his deeds. وَأَحْسَنَ عِبَادَةَ رَبِّهِ ذُخْرًا لِمَعَادِهِ. And he perfects the worship of his Lord as so that it would be something stored away for his return to life. وَعَلِمَ أَنَّهُ لَمْ يُخْلَقُ عَبَثًا. And he knows that he was not created frivolously. وَلَمْ يُتْرَكْ سُدًا. And he was not left unaccountable. فَيَجْتَهِدُ فِي تَوْثِيقِ عُرَى دِينِهِ. And so he will put the effort. He will exert the effort to verify that the buttons of his religion are fastened. وَتَصْفِيَةِ عَمَلِهِ. So that's a figure of speech I think is obvious for you. وَتَصْفِيَةِ عَمَلِهِ. And in purifying his deed. وَتَصْحِيحِ عِبَادَتِهِ. And verifying the validity of his worship. فَبِهِ يَتِمُّ وَيَصْفُو. And by that his faith will be complete and unadulterated, and it shall increase and grow. وَاللَّهُ الْمُوَفِّقُ لِسُبُلِ الرَّشَادِ. And Allah is the one who grants the compliance to the pathways of guidance, وَلِمَا يُحِبُّ وَيَرْضَى, and to what he accepts and what he approves. فَأَوَّلُ مَا يَحْتَاجُ إِلَيْهِ الْعَبْدُ اعْتِقَادُهُ التَّوْحِيدِ. And so the first thing that the slave needs is his conviction in monotheism. لِيَتِمَّ بِهِ سَائِرُ الْأَعْمَالِ, so that the rest of the deeds will be complete. فَيَعْتَقِدُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى وَاحِدٌ لَا مِنْ طَرِيقٍ لَا مِنْ حَيْثُ الْعَدَدِ. And so he believes that Allah Ta'ala is one, not from the perspective of count, وَلَا كَالْآحَادِ, and that he is not like the ones, وَأَنَّهُ شَيْءٌ لَا كَالْأَشْيَاءِ, and that he is something unlike other things. And that's also similar to what Abu Hanifa said. Abu Hanifa also said, وَهُوَ شَيْءٌ لَا كَالْأَشْيَاءِ, وَهُوَ شَيْءٌ لَا كَالْأَشْيَاءِ. He is something not like the other things. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Any question?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You said the last part by Abu Hanifa too?
Yes, Abu
Okay.
Hanifa said in Al-Fiqh al-Akbar, وَهُوَ شَيْءٌ لَا كَالْأَشْيَاءِ. He is something not like other things. And Ibn Khafeef says, وَأَنَّهُ شَيْءٌ لَا كَالْأَشْيَاءِ. He is something not like other things. So we will find here in this Ash'ari Aqidah statements very close to Abu Hanifa's statements. It really is the same creed. The Hanafi creed is not different from the Ash'ari creed, except that in some cases, very few handful of cases, there is an honest difference between the two ways, but does not dictate that either group would disown the other. And otherwise, their creed is the same, just their words will be different. Their expressions, their phrases are different. Barakallahu fikum wa jazakumullahu khayra. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.